Going live, going live, going live. Are we live? We're live. So let me change my tab and read out the following. You are listening to Let's Go JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
He's silent.
It's Dwayne. Are you there, Dwayne? Are you the video problem?
You're muted, Dwayne. I can see your icon. You've muted yourself.
Bastard bollocking shite. Hello.
Right, let me start this again. You are listening to Let's Go JoJo, the weekly JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast about weekly anime from Dynamite in the Brain and Secret of the Sailor Madness. So come along and hang with the Let's Go gang. It's Dwayne.
Hello.
It's Niall.
How are you?
And it's me, Brian. And on this episode, we are covering anime that aired the week of the February the 18th to the February the 24th in the year 2023, with a few exceptions, such as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Part 6, Stone Ocean, Episode 34, Sea Moon, where we left our heroes dangling on the 90-degree gravity.
Dangling on the edge of the floor.
At Cape Canaveral. I've put the
I
title
appreciated
airport.
the recap this time because we did give it a bit of a gap the last time. So I was like, oh, I actually did need the recap now. Congratulations, JoJo Broadcasting, putting all the episodes out at once.
Just realised I called this episode Let's Hang Out at the Airport because for some reason I forgot they were at Cape Canaveral when I was doing the title and thought they were at an airport for this episode.
Well, things go up
kind
into
of
the air.
airport. Yeah, yeah. It goes from Cape Canaveral to the air to space. So yeah.
If you machine translate it enough, it'll come out as airport. So
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It's different aircraft there. We got helicopters, I bet. All right.
I was also kind of contrasting it between the empty train station at the last Vampire Dies in No Time and the empty Cape Canaveral. Well, empty because everyone in there is probably murdered, but still kind of weird liminal spaces, that kind of thing.
Yes. So Jolie's arm, when we last left hers, was turning inside out due to being touched by this strange new stand of pooches.
Quite the pickle. It's doing lots of things. I can turn anything inside out. It's just like, turn me inside out. However, if it hit me again, it'll turn the outside in. Checkmate. That's the kind of thinking that she does, but it's up on fire, I'm also on fire. Checkmate. She doesn't even stop to hesitate, just go straight forward. So this will probably work. That's a Joe Star spirit you got.
Also, I do like the combination of I can turn any integral internal part of you of a working system, including your memory, your stand, or your eyes, and the function of seeing, and put it into a disc, and I combine that with infinitely shrinking as you get closer towards a thing to gravity. That's the combination of those two things. Yeah.
I suppose it's portations.
Yeah. And because we see later on in the episode, guys who've been sent to deal with the situation, that where they're standing, gravity is still correct. Is as you get closer.
Only if you drive up the road that it goes wrong. Yeah.
And so we've got a range of a couple of miles, which is pretty good as stands go.
Yeah, and also I did like your man shouting over the military. He's like, sir, we can't drive the tanks up the road because they flip over. And it's like, what do you mean they flip over? Get some men in there. It's like, we can't, sir. Like it's like, I'm getting fired, haven't I?
The men that they've fallen into the sky, sir. It's a real, real pickle down there. But the whole on their own, though. I mean, the guy have such a fun saying, well, it seems to be like, he's not around. It's not an automatic stand. It's too precise for that because it's reacting and dodging around and trying to attack me in certain ways. So it must be a remote control one. So that damn priest is somewhere nearby. So this is our chance, We can't be waiting for the speed wagon to show up. We can't waiting for my dad to come out of a coma and show up. We gotta take him out right now. And it comes this whole kind of battle of things where like Emporio was saying, no, Jolene, don't do it. You gotta live and survive this. And Ash was fun. Do it, Joe. Do it, Jolene. You gotta kill that fucking priest. It's just like, and this is all kind of tied up to like they have a kind of basically kind of have his the sea moon stand kind of strangled up and not up at this point, and it's just like, but if it touches the strand, it turns him inside out, and then by extension it'll turn Jolene inside out if it reaches up through it.
Yeah,
because
so it's
Annecy tries to attack, he gets swatted away, and to rescue Annecy, Jolene de-threads her arm to send a string, but also wraps it around Seamoon's neck at the same time. So Seamoon's being throttled by Annecy's weight, which is hanging off it.
so he's using his own gravity power against him in one way. But
Yeah.
yeah, then you have to think of if he grabs the thread, it'll travel down the thread, and if it gets to Jolene, it'll turn her inside out by that being part of her.
Her foot's stuck in some bent metal. So
I was
she's gotta
thinking, couldn't she turn her foot into string as well? And it's like she's probably got a lot on her mind right now. She's probably focusing very much so on this part of it. And I was like, yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, it's kind of I'd like to lift views of a dynamite as just like traveling up along the thing, but then as he puts his own limb on in the waypoint, and so travel up my arm instead of turn me inside out. It'll buy us some time, and you can just fucking take him out. We got a chance.
But the main problem that Seamoon has is that it's an idiot, and it keeps on touching the string again and again. So it unravels, re-ravels. And so Poochie has to come out from out the shadows and
explain to his stand. It's just like, just hit her once. Just once. Hit her in the head or the body. Just something fatal. Not the arms or the legs. That's no fucking good. I need a fatal fucking hit. Just hit her once and we're good. No twice. No 3 times because she might get another one in. No. Like, his stand is very dumb. But
you gotta listen to me. I'm literally the center of this. I'm literally what everything revolves around now. Everything revolves around me, literally.
And he's very annoyed at Jolene because it's ruining the dream that he and Dio had by showing it. Also, the gravity does not affect him. He's wandering around at 90 degrees to everybody else.
He's walking on the ground, which is the wall to them, that kind of way. Again, we get some really fun. We've turned the camera sideways to make it more actiony kind of scene. It's quite good.
And seemingly Seamoon kills Jolene.
Punches her in the chest, turning her heart inside out, and off she falls. And they're all very sad until we get a text from a very familiar sounding voice. I didn't appreciate the voice. It's like, also I love how old man he...
how he would talk, so you know it's him.
He writes these texts like an old man, which he is, because I'm just like, wait, so she said it was 20 years ago, so he's like, okay, I'm just doing the math.
40 odd at the very least.
Yeah, but him, like, he texts it and it's formatted right, so like it's Jotaro Kujo at the formatted on the right side, and I was just like, how did you even do that? Just like space, okay. Very particular about it.
41 at this point in time.
Okay. I assume a great looking 41 at this stage, yeah.
Well, it's that Joe Star longevity. Yeah.
That's true, yeah. But yeah, he's texting is like, hey, I know you're fighting him. I know Jolene's nearby. Don't worry, I can sense that she's still alive, but you do need to pick her up because of various reasons. I'll be there in a jiff.
Yeah, you wonder how is she still alive? I'm forgetting how the hell she doesn't know, because the whole thing that sort of hit me again, turn me out to be outside in, and all that I'll put it back, everything back where it should be. But I forget. Buy some finagling string.
It's
bonkers.
It's bonkers. Yeah, but not as bonkers as how Jotaro gets there.
Just like a great granddad, he was pretty handy with some trick string as well. I guess it's just some things never change, do they?
No. She inherited the idiocy and the ability to use string trickily from her granddad.
Yes, but Emporio is like, it's great that he's alive, but she's alive. But if Jotaro knows that, so does Poochie. And Poochie has noticed this, and he's like, what on earth's going on? How is she alive?
He just walked into the airport. I was going to call it an airport as well. He just walked into Cape Canaveral again, and he's walking back out going like, what the fuck? I got to figure out this. And instead of Anasui going to save her, he's like, well, the best thing for me to do is fight the priest and give her a chance.
Yeah.
So he's swimming up the wall, which is the ground. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Which he's been doing throughout the episode when he hasn't been falling.
Yes.
Yeah, some good gnarly stuff there. It's even fucking this dismemberment.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's even dismemberment. It's just like it's all still there. It's just not really in the fashion you would like it to be.
Like if it's bad enough to have your hand turn inside out, but what's worse is to see the fingers like bursting through your palm and like wriggling. And I was just like, didn't need to see that in Jolene.
So there's that Play-Doh extruder again. They got kind of like weird kind of pink shapes, just kind of flapping around. And Poochie's getting so like incensed as well with the whole like he feels like aggrieved by the situation and saying, "Why do you Joe Stars always turn up and ruin these great plans?" I guess he's only heard Dio's side of it and saying, "Oh yeah, man, those Joe Stars they done me dirty." And saying, "You're right, that's really bad what they did to you. What? You just want to take over the world and make it a paradise for everybody. I can get behind that. I'm a priest. I want heaven on earth. Come on. Why do they gotta be such dicks?"
It's funny how much Poochie thinks he's the hero of his own story when he's like the most like dick of the entire story. Can't seem to see it. Yeah,
I'm a priest. I'm like the best at knowing what's right and wrong, and I know what's right for everybody.
Sure, bud.
Yeah, the look of it is variable as normal. I think it's
like a lot of the visuals still work, but like the animation isn't the best for sure. Yeah,
9 animation directors on this episode. By the looks of things, this has been pretty standard through this part of the series.
Well, the thing is, get to start floating around with the gravity, pecking around the thing. So I guess you can just like use that, use the old like Gundams on a space station trick. It's fun. They just float on the corridors. It's fine.
Yes,
they're in space. It's meant to be that way.
Then we've got Detective Conan, the Culprit, Hanazawa, episode 3, Death Trap, in which he now must register his new residence in town, which is very easy to do because the city hall is mainly busy on the very long queue of people trying to leave town.
Understandable. I did appreciate that he's listening to his mom's advice and she's in his head, and she's also a murderer. So he comes from a long line of them, I assume.
Yeah, and also for settling in Baker, then he gets a welcome bag, some slippers, and a pack of toilet roll.
That's great when you're moving in, because it's like those are the things you're going like. Oh, that'd be the first thing I'd have to go to the shop for. It's like, oh, that's really nice. It's like, but you also gotta change your driver license as well. Yeah.
We got some pamphlets, a thing of like a little pump of like hand soap for the bathroom, and an alcohol-free beer. No toilet roll though. They got a roll on that.
Be practical about it. Come on, lads.
And the beer was it's got carbs and stuff in it. It kept us awake to move things. I don't know.
Yeah, there's also signs in the background which say things like "prevent depopulation," which I assume
Abe is dead. Okay, you can't be pushing that shit no more.
Very specific to Baker Town. So, but yes, as he's leaving, they ask if he needs to change his driving license as well. He goes, "Oh yeah, I do have a driving license. It'd be good to change that." Oh no, sorry, sir. You need to do that next door at the police station. And as a born culprit, he's afraid of going in the police station, but he did not need to worry. What he had to worry about is the fact that there is a massive queue to people of getting their driver's licenses changed.
Everyone's waiting there to change the driver's license and, register various different things or get a police to sign a specific document, the basic police stuff. But they're all out solving murders. So it's just like, it's completely, it's a ghost town there. We just have to wait for them to come back.
Now on this no paperwork getting done.
Yeah.
Like every cop film.
Yeah, and even when the what's the main fucking detective guy who's got the trench coat in Conan? I can't think of his fucking name.
When
he comes in, like it's like, all right, we've solved the case, man, and then it's like, what? There's been a murder. All right, we'll be right there. Come on, every single police come to this murder.
Yes, and then the little kid who's been crying says, "I'm going to go out and help the police and solve murders. There's a kid in my class at school. He's always solving murders."
Children of my age group, I think, solve murders. I'm pretty sure that's the case because I'm a child. Yeah.
And everyone's like, "Yes, we should go out and help the police." Everybody leaves, and so finally he can.
Well, not everyone leaves actually. Like initially, they all decide to become vigilantes on the spot. They spot a murderer. It's not Hanazawa. It's a different murderer.
Yes.
Then they chase him out of the police station. So it mostly works out in his favor. Yeah.
There is just a gasser there, and the gasser starts. He says, "Let me open the window for you. Get some spring fresh air in." Opens the window, and there's an immediate explosion in a tower block across the way.
So he composes a haiku about it. Yeah.
Yes. An explosion is a spring word. That was the thing which made me cackle the loudest this week, is opening the window and there immediately being a massive explosion.
And Hanazawa was on the ground when he's head in his hands,
Yes.
like, oh my god, and then it's just like, I'm pretty sure explosions have to do with spring, right, small child? And then the building explodes again, and it's like, fucking hell, there were 2 murders there that day, at least 2.
Murder in
but
that home, anyway.
He stayed overnight and got his driving license address changed, got home, found a package from his mum, and there was a reminder from his mum saying, you need to renew your driving license, it's about to run out. So he's got to go back there in an unseen story.
After saying, I'll never be in a police station ever again, because I'm not going to get caught for the murder I'm going to do eventually once I get all my paperwork sorted out.
Don't trust the cops. Whatever you do.
Yes, because it's pointed out that while there is a very high level of crime in Bakertown, on the hourly almost, there is also a 100% cleanup rate.
Yeah, they do always catch the right guy, so I mean, like, at least there's that.
And next week, apparently, not much of Hanazawa, so he's promised that he'll appear in a shower scene at the start of the episode to make up for it.
He'll appear in a nudie scene, which is weird because I'm not 100% sure if he's nude at all times, is the thing. I saw the intro, I've seen his shadowy butt, so,
Yes.
Very prominent, I think.
Yeah. So funny. And yeah, Shota Aoi's performance as Hanazawa is superb, particularly like the panicking he does in this episode is when the explosion happens. It's like, you just can't believe this guy's actually going to commit a murder, but he's so determined that he's going to do it.
He fantasizes about murdering like all the fucking time, but he mostly like is a good citizen for the most part.
He's just driven to it, man.
Yeah.
Then on to the actual things which happened this week. Welcome to Demon School, Iruma-kun, Season 3, Episode 19, The Instructor's Banquet. First half of which is the teachers celebrating the Harvest Festival and being a little bit of a clip show as we get.
Yeah, I thought I was being tricked into watching a clip show, but it came good because I know it was a bit where Robin does fun, shoots down a dude in cold blood. So I waiting for that bit.
But again, they did that bit as just like, that was before the party, so they were just like, oh no, he 100% successfully went on that mission. There's no stakes to this. We're all having a big party. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's quite fun that we get to like some more clear relationships between the teachers because we got introduced to all these guys when they're having to get their signatures in the previous season.
Yeah, but we don't kind of know who they are as adult people in themselves, kind of thing.
Like some of the weirder ones there, like the botany teacher, she's fucking this. Oh, she's fucking a massive stoner. She's just kind of this is the way she's gonna be. She's fun at the party, And then this kind of average looking dude. Oh yeah, I did a torture class. You did a torture class? Yep, I come from a long line of torturers, actually. Oh, okay, you wouldn't know to look at you. Yeah, well, there you go.
And the other very average looking.
Yeah, his sister's the manager of Cricoli in her Devi doll.
Yes.
ID. Yes, and we get the relationship of Dantalion Dali and Caligo is cleaned up. So Dali is Caligo's senior. He was the one who trained him when he joined the school. And
he was the Caligo to Robin, basically, in this case, which is like, that's weird because it's like he seems like a really mellow guy. It's like, but he trained Caligo in.
He seems younger than Caligo as well, and look younger than all these other teachers.
I think it's a lifestyle attitude kind of thing, whereas Caligo is just a miserable cunt. Caligo might be 21 for all we fucking know.
19 years old. He's a teaching assistant. So just came out last year.
That's true. Is he like one? He's around the same age as Balam and Opera, isn't he? We know they were all in school together.
That's true.
Opera's like a year younger than him, but still bullied him.
And he's up for a party as well. We got him one off and saying, "Oh, I came to this party because Bella brought me along, bottle this house and a drink." No, at the Chiefs cover the tab. I'll have him an expensive bottle of whiskey, please.
Yes, and we get the motto of the teachers about how they'll essentially throw themselves in front of a bullet.
Discipline
for anybody who attempts to harm any of their pupils. And
I really like that because it was like they were very like much so people having a party, like, hey, we're professionals, but we're taking it easy now. And then Robin brought up as like, hey, we're like students are like your family. It's like, no, this is a sacred fucking duty. And that's where they became more demonic, where they all started chanting the fucking thing. I was like, Jesus, okay. So they will fuck up anyone who messes with their students, yeah.
Just like Robin did earlier that afternoon.
Yeah, and that's how he proved himself.
That's it. Yeah,
that's
you're
why
in.
he's in.
Okay, you're a real teacher now. You're fun. You get blood in, blood out. That's how it works.
But they should have punished that guy harder because he had put a bug on Iruma and he delivered it to. He's actually a member of the cult of the two, who their favorite thing is supporting a fake number one. And he went to the real number one and delivered the recording he'd made from bugging Iruma. And on that tape is Iruma saying over and over again, I am a human. I'm a human.
I'm just a human. I'm a human. I'm a human. Tefal is human. And he just keeps saying that while he was freaking himself out kind of thing.
Yes.
And it's like, shit, that's distinctive evidence he's a human. So initially when your man's deriding Iruma, our guy who's like a weird creep for Iruma.
Yes, because Ami's annoyed that he's been bullying Iruma, and then when he hears that Iruma's a human, he can't stop salivating because he wants to see the look on Iruma's face when he eats him.
I want to see his despair as I eat him, and I'm gonna make that weird as well, like make it weird sexually, because that's how weird character he is. Yeah.
Yes. Whereas Bar's like, essentially seems to be like, well, I thought so. I thought as much. I thought he was human. I was suspected.
The guy did get a grandson after illegally entering Earth. So yeah, that would fucking track. So yeah.
And so they're going to go on a hunt probably next season. Because I don't think they've got enough time to get to that arc.
Need more school hijinks to be missed out on to close it out.
Yeah, there's the short arc coming up next, and then there'll be the music festival to start the next season, I think.
Okay.
Still moving faster than Vinland Saga. And then the final punchline is that while Robin had been glugging down this expensive liquor that Caligo had purchased for Balam, he's the only one left standing. Everybody else has drunk themselves unconscious at this party.
It seemed to be the thing of that, because they said it was because it was the same with Caligo. Like the newbie gets to be the host for the teacher's party, so it's just like, oh, it's an honor, and you get to say what everyone's doing, and you get to set the events and everything. Also, you got to bring the drunkest people home.
Gotta call them taxis.
It's all your responsibility. Then it's like, okay, I see.
That's it for this week. I guess not too. It tends to only go for like 23 episodes a season, doesn't it? If I remember correctly.
Yeah,
because it's on the NHK schedules. Then we've got Trigun Stampede, episode 7, Wolfwood. I assume this is about Wolfwood.
They all have been the last couple of ones, so
yeah, pretty much, yeah. The last one for sure. Like, it's we're dealing with this chaos that's erupted. The Bad Lads gang are fairly quickly dispensed with. Actually, they get inside the steamer, and before they can even kind of get to rob things, they've gotten Merrill to take some nice snappy shots at them for the main point. Oh, we're gonna be in the paper, lads. It's gonna be class.
Because when Merrill and your man were driving, they were obviously surrounded by the Bad Lads initially, and they were like, how did they get out of that? We hadn't seen that. And basically she said, I'm doing an article about you guys. And they're like, fucking brilliant. So we're going to accidentally keep threatening you, but also we're not going to do anything about it because we really want to see that article about us in Gangs Monthly or something.
Yeah. Then Vash comes down the way and just pistol whips the shit off.
That was pretty badass, I gotta say. Yeah. For a non-violent guy, that's pretty violent, because that's a giant hunk of steel that he's hitting people.
Whack it off.
It's basically like a metal tonfa. Like, come on, that's.
He's had been practice of that over the years, yeah. And fucking Wolfwood is trying to deal with Livio. Then it's just he's they're just shooting the shit out of each other and just regenerating back. And at this point, the security's back up and saying, "These guys, this is fucked up. We're getting out of this now." It's like that dispenses with them. They're not in this fight. It's like, shit. It's fun. He's coming on. We always fun on that to me, man. We always fun on that to me. If this is the way it's going to be, I'm going to have to be the one who's got to put you down. the Vash before he kind of, actually, it's about to fun like do it. He has it running right under his chin, but then Vash kind of just kind of knocks it just askew with his own shot. One saying, "No, man, you gotta reach out to me. Still in there somewhere. There's gotta be something about like what you had together when you were kids that might be able to kind of bring him out of it. He's not himself, Then he's like putting the magazine into like the double Uzis and say, "There's a little kind of trick I showed with the cigarette lighter." Oh yeah, so I guess I gotta do that.
It shows that there's still something of him in it because he's still imitating his idol in Wolfwood. I did appreciate that Vash deflecting his shot as well. Also shot that bug that they've been watching. The lads have been watching from their van that they're kind of keeping up with it. Yeah. So he did still destroy something with his shot, basically. Yeah.
I got on the wire there's like the Legato Blue Summers and Zazie the Beast are kind of in their little buggy car chasing along, and just like watching with distance and just like trying to take it in the whole thing. Oh yes, it's gonna be fun, pretty good when they fall into despair. Can't wait for this now. That's it. Kill each other. That's what we want.
Your man, the Blues plan is, all right, so if he kills his best friend that he's working for us for, and we drive a whole ship through the orphanage that he's also wanting to protect, then he'll have nothing left to live for in the world, and then he'll be the best priest we could possibly fucking want for our weird little cult.
Yeah, but I don't get that, Ira, because that's the leverage you have. That's why he's doing it. That's because he's doing it so that they won't get in, but...
Yeah, he's not very smart. It's just like if I take away all these worldly things, it's like he'll have nothing to lose and therefore will come right at you. So it's not a good plan, man.
Yeah, and the fact you've already done this to his little brother and the same thing to him, and I've done it worse presumably. He's going to be super pissed at that. So why would he do anything? You say then now. But it's sort of how it goes down. Livio was just coming up, Bob. It was like, Nico, big bro, are you there for it? That's right. It's me, and he takes one like right in the head.
It's basically like he instead of shooting them, Livio manages to shoot himself off the side of the boat, basically.
Yeah, and so don't worry, you'll see him again.
Well, I mean, like they literally the baddies say at the end of the episode, it's like, hey, go pick up the fucking guy. He's out in the sand back there.
Yeah,
so
he's called a double fang for a reason, not just because he has a double Uzis. He's also got a double something else, which we'll get back to. You guys see, him staring into the mirror, but there's somebody else in the reflection in that little flashback.
But basically, like what they're kind of left with is, I forgot what sets off the chain of events, but basically the
Garden was pissed off and said, "Well, time for Plan B. Yes. Might as well show off some of the hidden features of the Sand Steamer. It's all made from reclaimed parts from the space age. So it's got like a massive fucking ion cannon made for clearing obstacles, but it also blows up anything else real good. So we'll both crash it into the orphanage and might as well just fire it off and cause maximum carnage. Because why not? Yeah. We're villains. Is what we do."
So it's the combination of Vash and Wolfwood having to split up and not look for clues, but one of them, Vash is going to get the cranes that are used for loading and like whip them around the ion cannon as it's flipping out to shoot the entire town, and Wolfwood's going to try and put the brakes on, basically. So they're both doing this thing at the same time. And I thought it was there's a lot of really cool visuals for that. Like I especially like the cranes like whipping around it like really fucking slowly, just these gigantic things moving very slowly to kind of emphasize their size,
the mass of it.
Exactly.
It's almost getting tagged with everyone saying, "Hey, watch it with those them down here." They've shown Meryl and Roberta one like Vash knows how to kind of work all this shit, and Roberta was saying, "We gotta get the fuck out of here because this is like way over our heads." Yeah, that was the deal, right? No, we say we just got too high, we both get out of here, right? But saying, "No, man, I'm staying. I'm staying. It's going to this fun. I'm fucking journalists. You got to witness this. You got to get on the record now. We can't be fucking just living and running away and fearless all the time."
Because basically, he's like, Vash is like, "All right, hit this button when I say, because that'll be the thing that sets off the rest of the stuff that sets the brakes on, kind of thing, and that kind of thing." But he's like, "Yeah, we need to live to tell the story. We don't need to influence the story at all." And she's like, "No, I think I'm going to influence the story. I think I want to do good in the world, actually. That's why I became a journalist in the first place." Anyway.
Yeah.
Just a difference of opinion there, yeah.
I managed to deal with the fun cannon because it's all like kind of flipping over like that and getting in a position. And Wolfwood is there, trying to kind of lift it back up. I know he's a genetically enhanced fucking Superman. But he also got like a big laser in the end of his fucking cross gun. I've seen him like bisect the sand whale with that. I don't know why it wasn't like the first thing he thought of.
Was that the one? Did he only have one giant laser in his giant gun and he used it up? Is that the thing? I was thinking that as well, but it's himself and Vash trying to hold up a giant ion cannon. And it's like, this is very silly, but I do like it. And Vash's robot arm cracking a little bit from
the guy. It's more dramatic this way.
Yeah.
Just kick off. No, to kind of fire out down there. I put the brakes in this thing. Got to stop. So it means you got to go down to the engine room, and Vash is kind of go over there with the plant. Fun. What should he do with the plant? He's going to talk to the plant. The plants aren't like things. They're who's. They're peoples. The rest of the gang turn up there, and it's like, oh, there's like someone or something inside. It's kind of a weird kind of like alien angel person, and Vash is kind of got a weird kind of skin pattern on it, and it's like you as well. It's like, oh my gosh,
Vash is also a plant.
Is boom? Oh my gosh, this explains a lot. Yeah, again, this is like reveals of things that they're really fun. Just like slamming these like moments together, like all in a row. Yeah, fun, like I think it goes down to the kind of the full backstory of like because you see like how Vash and Knives arrived on the planet, but what precipitated the planet fall to begin with. So we get into that and where they kind of come from there, which is actually probably about the right time in the story if it was, because probably kind of midway through the comics. If we're midway through the series, is about when it should be coming up. Yeah, but you probably suspected it as much by now anyway.
The speed of it definitely feels like the novel adapted for a film kind of thing. It's like, we just got to cram this into a very short amount of time. We do not have time to dick around.
I was going to say, it sounds like the opposite, because sometimes those novels have more information that was cut out of the film script at the time.
That's true as well, yeah.
It's fun rattling along now. Like, it is like trying to hit one beep moment, and, it's fun debatable then whether we're getting kind of adequate time to breathe.
Yeah.
I think I guess the book have been focusing on kind of WOLFWOOD and his kind of dilemmas of things like that now. But I feel like we're barely seeing Vash now for a little bit. Like most seem kind of running away from shooting and from the shit, not getting shot and then not shooting anybody else. They mostly kind of seen him doing. Some kind of big things here, and WOLFWOOD is just because the facade is starting to crack. He's been trying to do a lot of this on his own. He's trying to be the kind of one bulwark in the way of if not like trying to save everybody, he's trying to save like the kids in the orphanage where he's from. So he's not too dissimilar to Vash. He's trying to be the kind of one man who's going to take it on himself to do what he's going. I'm the Punisher. I'm Nicholas the Punisher. That's my name. But you're punishing yourself, man, for no reason. You shouldn't be doing it.
You should punish the baddies rather than work for them to punish their enemies. Yeah, that kind of thing.
But yeah, anyways, you get to more kind of weird stuff about like that. But yeah, I just like for like everything, the scale of like the mechanics of this thing, the big like can flipping out on that, and then just stopping short of like wiping out like a whole town. This is coming like this sudden this like stopped us before like that. It's been great for the scale of it. It's been good.
It's great for
set pieces.
Yeah, the physicality of the action set pieces is fucking excellent in this show.
Just, getting the camera kind of whip all around like the whole like entirety of the thing.
Yeah.
Because I didn't figure there was going to be a whole like gun is going to come out of that thing. It's got this nice little like hidden like bits coming out of it. So it would have been a pain in the butt to try and like do any other way, at least with like the know-how it's on hand, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we've got Spectre, Season 2, Episode 19, or You Could Wish Upon a Star.
So it was kind of like the Dr. House thing. It's not that the patient was lying, it's just that they left out very key information, like that magic rock is a meteorite that hit a tree that he carved into a little wooden boy. So it's like, you should have fucking told us that. That's outer gods fucking shit. That's another fucking thing. It's not above my pay grade. It's something I do have to sort out, but that is an extra thing and explains how he can shoot electricity, because that's not normal.
Yeah. Very, very scary, because whatever about anything that exists like on this planet, what can manifest into a ghost or a monster like that. There's like fucking things out there we don't even know about, so it might work the exact same way. And that's not my jurisdiction. But now it's here. But plan is simple. I mean, this thing just could watch the same way. We'll just fucking just lay a trap for it. It's just straightforward. You've been overthinking this. No, the lightning is very, very scary.
It takes the same route to the fucking sea and then goes back into the mountains by the same route. Yeah, we could just put a thing in the fucking way, put a bomb there and then blow it up when it goes on it. You know, that kind of way, or set a bunch of fires and it's made of wood. It's grand. And she's like, yeah, that actually is remarkably simple to take care of. I guess we weren't really thinking about it because initially they're trying to identify what it is, and they're kind of thinking the what's the doll? It's what would be called incorrectly like a voodoo doll, where you can kind of hurt the doll and then that hurts the person.
A fetish doll.
Yeah, a fetish doll. So
another kind of fetish.
They think it's that kind of thing first, and they think it's like, what if it's his soul possessing the thing? And it's like, no, it doesn't seem to be that because it's like autonomous. It does exactly the same fucking thing. It attacks automatically anything that moves near it.
Yeah. You're kind of getting down to fun. What's the motive here? It's just like, he didn't seem like, like a very, like, he's usually a very kind of meek man. He wouldn't have this kind of thing off, or he wouldn't be in to try and like make this thing that would just like, kill people like that. What he wanted was to get back at probably like the drivers, the passengers of the car that ran over his grandson to begin with. 3 of which got off, and 1 of which, just like got like
sentence
kind of committed for it because just paid a fine for fucking running over a kid, whatever.
The other 3 teenagers in the car were responsible because they were distracting the driver, but they just got off because they weren't behind the wheel, kind of thing. So he's like, okay, all of these people are responsible, and the way they figured to capture it is they've dug a hole, like a little pit in the beach, and they're trying to get it onto this spot. And once we get it onto this spot, we'll have it. But to get it onto that spot, we're going to use my immortal boyfriend.
Kuro, get to work. Die over and over again till you get him in the right position.
She does go, it's like, hey, try not to die, okay? And he's like, why the fuck are you saying that? It's like, because all the fucking yokai are telling me I'm a real dick for not being concerned about you dying all the time. And I thought I should say it.
It sounds fake when you say it that way.
Yeah, when you say it like again,
I do care.
The couple's arguing kind of thing. So he manages to figure, like through dying several times from being electrocuted, getting it into position, and then the thing was getting it in position and getting it to fall correctly, because when it falls, its arm goes up in the air, and all the yokai are nearby, and they pull a rope like a lasso kind of thing to trap its arm in an upward facing position. And it was the idea is like, yeah, we could have caught like its head or its torso or its leg or whatever. So we wanted to adjust causality, so we just catch that one arm.
Yeah, which they did. This thing is a bomb, or they presume it could be a bomb, because he wanted to get back at the passengers in the car, the driver of the car, rather for his kid. But he wasn't the kind of guy who'd do that. It wasn't him to kind of kill somebody else. But what if you kind of set this thing up now, and you'd have their names carved into it? It's probably somewhere in the body, and it'd be kind of cursing like that. So if, say it happens like there, the thing comes up and it comes out every night and starts like zapping the fish and ruining your fish stock, maybe the town would like try and like turn on it, or maybe someone will come along and try and dispose of it. And
again, like you said, all they have to do is plant a fire in the route where it is, and it'll set itself on fire. It's like, it's very easy to fucking catch.
But that would mean 4 people somewhere in Japan would then catch on fire then at the same time, because this is going to be a cursed doll. So like, we don't want to be like doing this kind of thing, because then like the town would have in a sense
murdered 4 teenagers.
Murdered them for that, and then they would have but then that's dangerous too, because 4 people would die for you don't want to be doing that. Doesn't solve anything, and also then that might bring a worse grudge or curse down upon the town, and won't solve anything. So we got to get this thing right and diffuse it. So we got here in the sandpit 5 names. Miss Ty, your name is on here as well. Why would that be, man? Well, why do you think that is? It's like, I guess he had a grudge maybe against me as well, because it's my whole backstory here. Similar kind of thing. I had I had a husband, I had a kid, and we had a good life, together. But this tragedy struck, from our child died when they were young, and then my husband went not too long.
I think the kid died in a their kid died in a traffic accident as well, and then they got a shitload of money from the settlement from the guy. But they were like, what the fuck are we going to do with this money? We don't want the money. We'll put it into a children's charity by publishing a children's book about Pinocchio, and became known as a publishing thing that did that. and made a shitload of money doing that. They were just like, no, we weren't. We were trying to put the money back and do something good with it. And it's like, fuck. And then the husband died, and he had a huge fucking life settlement, so she ended up even richer. And she's like, all right, I'm going to use my money to do other stuff. And she just kept ending up being richer from all the good deeds she tried to do with the money. It's
but
like,
she was
can't get rid of this.
She was just trying to kind of get on with things, fun. I mean, she's out jogging every day. She's trying to just like fun. When the guy wouldn't get busy living or get busy dying kind of attitude, and he kind of. You couldn't kind of like reckon with that. He's fun saying, "Oh, he was someone in the exact same situation. They're just fun getting on with things," and he felt kind of envious and kind of jealous of that. So he kind of resented her in a way that as well. That's why her name got put onto it too.
So I mean, like since she's right there, it's like, well, we'll try just carving off the name of this tied up wooden doll to see if that like cuts her or anything. And it's like chick 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 with a little chisel. It's like she's like, nah, I'm grand. And I was full sure that's it. Oh, is she gonna walk off? I was like, I'm dying actually now. And it's like, no, she's absolutely 100% fine from this. We can just chisel the names off this doll and just take it apart. We're grand. That breaks the curse. We're all okay. And then the extra is the extra coda them driving home in the car was kind of like going like, yeah, she probably had a bit of a grudge herself in that was one of the things fueling the doll, because she couldn't do like your man did and like get angry at anyone or decide to. She said it as much like I wasn't brave enough to like kill myself, basically.
It's even got grudge or even gets like this guilt overall.
Yeah, that kind of way.
This she felt kind of like it's because she feels guilty for being the one left alive. Like that's
exactly
that
survivor's
kind of
guilt that way. Yeah.
It's just like just like an interesting kind of way, like to kind of to come out and then how like there's a yokai for everything, like in Japanese folklore, let's say, can come out of everything. It's you're seeing it then like even in the modern day how like this kind of really kind of goes into like what kind of feelings isn't just like I'm like the yokai that carries tofu like from Kidron fucking shit. But okay, I guess some real like carrying tofu when they were alive, or that feeling is manifested in fucking a yokai like this. But kind of just the kind of most modern tragedies like traffic accidents, just traffic accident yokai, and there's like things born from that kind of create things. In the previous series, there's like enough internet fucking rumors flying around and fear and paranoia that we've created like this like muscle-bound bunny girl who murders people in a certain way on this one stretch of the road, and because people like believe that and fear that enough, it comes to being. See also Chainsaw Man.
Yeah, exactly. Or I can't think of the name of it. The thing that's all about grudges coming alive and becoming bastards. No,
The Ring.
A different anime and manga. Can't think of it.
Jujutsu
Kaisen. Thank you, Jesus. I like this kind of thing of a literalization of like those anxieties and fears and modern and old beside each other, like taking literal fucking form in the way that you can kind of fight them. And it's like because it's an interesting idea that they could take physical form and you could do something about them like that. Because other than that, it's basically like therapy is the main way to solve those problems. Yeah,
it was like we don't need to kind of look to werewolves and vampires and things in the past. We're trying to manifest things. We're making our own ones down in the here and now, and they're coming into being. Speaking of vampires, more of those soon.
Ooh, looks like the video is now actually stuttering. Hopefully it behaves itself. There we go. Of all things, I think it was the Vampire Dies in No Time website was what was causing the problem. I don't know what's going on in their code to make my computer slow down like so.
Modern vampires curse. It's draining your bandwidth. Ooh.
You're caught by the internet bandwidth draining vampire. Like that seems like a specific vampire to Shin Yokohama. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it does seem like that would be possible. But before we get to that, we've got Vinland Saga Season 2, Episode 7, Iron Fist Ketil, in which we've got a couple of thieves. Snake's finally proved his worth, catching these thieves, he says, are sneaking around. 2 small children.
Oh, you dastardly criminals, we've found them at last.
Also, this episode is weird in that it attempts to make you feel sympathy for a guy who has to beat up a child. And it's just like...
He didn't want to. But
he didn't want to, but then I saw the fucking child...
into it because this is the fucking society he lives in now, where he's trying to move on past it and saying, I've done my bit. I put that life behind me now. Fun.
Well,
actually, most of that life I also made up. It's just people do it out of proportion. I'm not like that at all. But now, because if I want to fucking save face and keep a rep and keep this farm. I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
they
think
got the.
I think we
Oh,
learned
sorry.
down the line that it's even worse than just making it up, blowing it out of proportion. But
I mean, like it's already pretty fucking bad. So yeah,
but
that's
yeah, the it's essentially his situation is Viking society has put him in a position where he had to pretend to be a big tough man.
and especially
It,
because his son is not come home from the war, is taking a break from the
well,
war.
no, but
He's gotten big.
his oldest son, has become like that because
Yes.
he was telling these tales about what a tough guy he was,
Mm.
and he says at the end when he's with the wonderful lady, the perfect lady in Ina's eyes,
Ironheld.
yes, who is also his slave / concubine.
See, that's the thing as well. It's just like, oh, only you understand me, slave. Like, I had to beat up that child because otherwise I'd look like a real prick, and I felt really bad about it, you know.
Yes.
And it's just like you're lamenting
Sir,
beating
I
a
have
child
to be
to your
here. I
slave.
haven't got say in the matter, okay?
Yes. But it's the idea of like
you-
the Viking society has made me do this, which is the theme of the thing, which is
Yeah,
the theme of, and the problem is, we get this from what his father was saying in that bit of foreshadowing, is that the Christian society that will be replacing your Viking society will also come a knocking at your door, and then where is your big story is going to get you there?
Yeah. Your violence will be a different kind of violence towards what you said you were, that kind of way. Yeah.
Yes, but he's created this monster of an older son from his tales. He's basically saying, "Oh, these kids, we chop an arm off each," and like the older brother wants to take the punishment. It's like, "Oh, chop both his arms off."
Simple as done. I mean, well,
And
that's it. It's a
your
simple
man's kind
solution.
of your man's sitting in his chair being the big boss sitting there, and I was just like, oh, I don't know about that. But then his advisor goes in and is like, sir, chopping off both his arms is akin to killing him, and killing someone for the crime of thieving a bag of flour, that's too extreme.
He is so relieved to have a
and he's like,
"Oh,
yeah,
Peter,
you're
yes,
right.
please, no, chip in with your sage advice." Yes, I've watched it here.
Instead, right, what he can do is he can work his family's farm. That way, he pays his father's outstanding debts, who's either left them for a pack of went out for a pack of cigarettes, never came back, or was killed by thieves on the fucking road because this is Viking times. But like his dad didn't come back, so his dad owes me a bunch of money. So if he works his farm and I get my advisor to teach you how to work the farm, you'll be paying it back. You won't have to thieve anymore. I'll have made my money back, and you'll be punished by having to pay me back for getting your farm stuff for free. Everything works out, and your man's like, "That's right. Also, you must beat the child because that's only fair."
Yes,
Can't anybody know you're a punk?
Yeah.
It's five hits each, but the brother takes all 10.
No, he's like,
No, 10
initially
each.
he
He
says,
takes
10
20 each.
5,
Okay, yeah.
10 lashes, and then the brother's like, I'll take all the lashes for me and my little sister. And your man's horrible monster of a son
Poor
goes like,
Gauntlet.
fucking 10. Oh, I'm fucking getting a piece of this. And he kind of like takes the stick. It's like a D-headed axe, so it's just a big fucking hard stick, and hits the kid and like knocks him across the fucking field. And he's like, "That's one." And the dad's like, I'll do the rest of
I
them.
should do this. It's my
Even though I
responsibility.
don't want to. And it's like, again, you're trying to make me feel bad for this guy, but I get that society has made this guy a cunt, but he is a cunt, and that's very important.
Yes, but he feels bad that he's then also made his son the same.
He's terrified of his son. He says as much, like, to his slave. Monster.
And he doesn't want his other son to. He wants the other son to look after the farm, not go to war. But the other son's also got it in his head from
That's the
big
fighting
brother,
is the good thing to do.
and also from Snake's men, not from Snake. I suspect Snake would also discourage him from doing.
Yeah,
this sort
Snake's
of
got a
thing.
fucking easy life, catching small children stealing flour. It's just like, yeah,
Again,
he's living a good.
Snake, no, he thinks of higher things than this. He fell asleep reading a book, which is more than most of these lads do in their spare time.
Yeah, because
meanwhile,
like the nice lunch that your man's having with his son coming back, like the other son's like, hey, maybe you'll get some trophies. Check it out. And it's like, what are these? Is this jerky on a string? It's like, those are the ears I've cut off Englishmen. And he's like, you big coward. He got scared by a bunch of ears I chopped off men. He's not well. That's not a healthy fucking way to be.
No. Meanwhile, Thorfinn is learning about agriculture.
When you plant crops, they grow. And I mean, like, for this shitty field that we've plowed, this is actually pretty good.
We're doing well, man. We got some sprouts here. Like, you know, I've got like an inn with Ironheld. We got these sweet beers have grown in. It's all going on, all going our way toward fate. It's all going to happen for us.
Just pray to whatever god you like.
Doesn't fucking matter as long as you like. As long as we hit one of them, like it's grand. They'll help. Like it's just fucking really screaming at the heavens. It's like I don't fucking care what god it is. But and then they're kind of wondering, it's like, so in a couple of years, we'll have bought our fucking freedom and be farmers. It'll be class. Just I wonder if your one has the same deal that we have, because I fancy her. Obviously, I'm making that very fucking apparent. I'll have to look into that, and then cut to your man lamenting to his slave in bed.
She's basically getting like she's getting fucking five across the face for insane. Some fun chit chatting with the fucking other slaves in the morning. Get the breakfast out, will you? Fuck's sake.
Yeah. Is that your man's wife or his mother?
It's his wife. Yeah, this is the first time she's really come into the story.
See, that's why I wasn't sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's just fascinating of like the personalities having to negotiate the culture and each other. And
yes.
And
seeing kind of two ends of it, we're seeing like, you know, and this very kind of like small scale, you know, it's a big farm thing, and then this is what Canute is like, you know, kind of trying to follow along with this, like up the very, very top, which Torgil is like a big kind of like nothing. Like, you know, he's not a prince anymore. He's fucking king now. No, he's got some weird ideas, but he's grown up on that. But he's like kind of seeming the same way. But saying, well, I'm somebody who thinks this way. I'm in a position where I can actually change it, so I'm gonna fucking change it.
Yeah, even Ketil is kind of surprised at his oldest son kind of referring to him as King Canute. It's like, yeah, no one calls him Prince anymore. It's like, yeah, after murdering a bunch of people, it's like,
currently he's only king of England. He's not king of Norway.
That's true. That's true.
Harold.
Yeah.
That will change, as you can look up on Wikipedia, because some historical characters stick to their histories in this. Or at least what little histories we know of some of them. But people like kings tend to know a bit more about them. Whereas people like Thorkel, they eventually just disappear from the history books after a certain point.
Giant violent men don't tend to live particularly long, yeah.
Well, people went off to, you know, King Kai's planet or something. You know.
You did well there, yeah.
You went the full on, like, you know, murder Goku route, and you kind of just went and for fighting dudes in Valhalla in the afterlife forever.
Yeah, I think we'll check back in on them in a few episodes' time. I don't know if that's when he's in charge of East Anglia going mad, but not being able to get into any fights. Then we got high card, episode 7, Love and Fake, in which we get a new character, Chelsea, and then trying to recover. Chris and Finn are trying to recover. What cards she got?
She has the two. Two diamonds. Because I'm going, what kind of card is that fun? Diamonds, Paramecia type. Watch out, she's got this weird ability.
I was also going like, was that body modification? Because it makes you hold hands. No, not quite, but yeah. So it's a weak card, but she, like, your man being a weird flirty guy at the train station, and our other boy kind of like doing his light-fingered pickpocketing is like, it doesn't work on her. She makes them hold hands. Now you're basically in the handcuffed episode, but it's even worse for you guys because everyone's going to assume that you're gay the entire fucking episode, which is very funny.
Yeah. It's good to have one of these for like the card holders of players aren't necessarily all violent criminal types who we have to brutalize to get the card back off of.
It's a pretty good card for like disabling your enemies because it's like really difficult to chase after someone even if she's not particularly quick. Because you're holding another guy's hand and you're not running at the same pace.
It's a lot of slapstick more than it is gay innuendo in this one. Particularly even I watched the 2 Deadpool films this weekend, and then I watched this, where at one point, in order to get around it, they cut Chris's hand off because of his immortality powers, and he just sticks itself back together again due to her power.
So he had to cut his arm off. Your man had to watch him cut his arm off, and then their hands are stuck together again anyway. I was like, well, we did think of that. So
in this game, 2 diamonds beats 5 of hearts. Okay, well, not sure how this works.
Your man also has a 2, so that's a pair. So, you know, yeah.
But essentially, it's that Chelsea while they're following her around on her what's the fake Instagram called?
Oh yeah.
Hologram.
Yeah,
They're basically
Hologram.
seeing where she's posting from. It's like, all right, she's down at the beach. Let's go. You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's but it's less about them chasing her. It's more about her not having any of Chris's fake personality.
Yeah.
And she's got his number, and when his sister gets involved, that's when by the end of the episode, the mask has come off, even though he thinks the mask hasn't come off. She's like,
Yeah, he thinks she's still smooth as heck.
Yeah.
But no.
No, but she's seen through him all the way. Fun. You're just funny. You're just a sad man. It was just fucking putting on his fucking hair. It's like, and you're not quite sure what you kind of means by that fun. Saying, oh, he's got nothing else going on, but like, you know, this job and flirting with chicks. You know,
and even he says himself, it's like, I'm happy with that. Underneath my mask is 1,000 other fucking masks, and I'm okay with that. I'm cool with that. And he keeps saying to the man, is like, all right, I need us to be unfucking handcuffed to each other, unhand holding to each other by Saturday, because I got an important date on Saturday. And he's like, all right, we're turning in for the night. So don't tell anyone else at High Card about this. Don't tell anyone, all the other guys, because this is going to happen. And that's after they tried and failed to get the card off her. And at that stage, she just like destroyed him personally and just walked the fuck away, which is pretty badass. Like, they didn't even chase her. It's like, yeah, fuck it, let's just go home. Like, we'll get her tomorrow. It's like, no, we can't. I gotta take my sister out on a nice time on the town.
One day out, because Chelsea, she just works like this. If all her jobs just like happen to go by what the cafe she burst off and said, "You again? What are you doing here? Oh, do you know my brother? Yes,
we are good chums.
How about we go up? No, she's working at that. No, let's go. I insist. I'm gonna fucking just show up in front of your sister." But then she had a good time as well and said, "Well, he's being with his sister. He's being genuine." So
yeah.
That's kind of when he's being kind of cool.
And his sister is genuinely nice, so she doesn't want to be a dick to make him look like a dick in front of the sister, because it's like, no, she seems like a good person. That would suck.
Yeah. But then cough, she's got anime wasting disease. You gotta get her to the hospital.
She's at a hospice for girls with anime wasting disease.
Yeah, it's kind of, maybe she's like sick, maybe she's like picking a job to earn money to get her treatment, but it's like, no, isn't the kind of thing that's going to get better? Like, you know, they kind of
because it's a genetic disorder. Like, both their parents died from this, and I guess he doesn't because he can't die anymore. So yeah, it works out for him.
Yes, and so at the end, when he's put his mask back on and pretends everything's still all right again, they go back to the pub, and Chelsea's now working there at the pub, and she's going to keep this job. They're like, I thought you were going to go around the world trying to find your ideal man. Because she said, because they'd also come to an agreement where basically they'll let her keep the card. When she's finished having her fun with the card, give us a ring, we'll come and collect it, because we know you're not going to do anything untoward.
You're not doing any crimes with it or violent actions with it. You're just making our life a fucking hell right now, and I have to sleep in a chair beside him, sleeping in the bed. But other than that, you've not really done anything bad, and we kind of deserve it.
Seems like a card that the criminal organization aren't going to be chasing after madly.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we gotta get the hand-holding card. That's vital to our plan.
Similarly, they're not going after Finn's card. We've got to get the one which gives you a gun.
Or maybe they're going to be like, fun, no, and then the roof of the pub gets torn off. He's there in the helicopter again, just levitating the card into her hand. Just, you know, it works every time. I don't know why we don't do this for every heist.
Also, we briefly got a look at Finn's nightmares, where he's being chased by a man in a black suit of armor.
Yeah, like, I don't know, a prince or a king might do, you know, that kind of thing. It's just totally unrelated, I assume. Yeah.
Well, Aka flashbacks of.
Oh, for real? Yeah, it's on that all over. You know, it's got with this, there's got a bit more kind of substance to it now, and it's like it is kind of it's kind of like a fun staff thing, but really just kind of goes through her fun thing. It isn't like, no, she's in hospital and she's sick and she might get better one day. She's not gonna get better no day. Unless we just do some card-based kind of trickery, you know, some sleight of hand, if you would, because I don't know if those cards are transferable or not, and can I do something, or is there a card out there?
I think they said as much, that the card has to pick the player kind of thing, but we've seen just people get card and then they can manifest the power, or they know.
But if the heir to the throne, let's say, Who can use the
Who can
entire
use all
deck.
the cards? That's
Could-
right.
We can
Yeah.
maybe do
Yes.
something in the end. Maybe there's some we might get a happy ending to it. But it's still something that kind of hangs over us all together.
Yeah.
Then we got Vampire Dies in No Time, Season 2, Episode 7. Put a sock in it. We are the state. And John, you've gotten dog.
A sentence so funny, I forgot to spell John correctly when I read it in the notes.
The first part, we're introduced to the Human Sock Collection. I think her name's Tabiko. She's a hunter.
Yeah, there's a hunter in town, and they don't take no guff. They just attack vampires indiscriminately. It's like, yeah, but we got like a high population of vampires technically not doing any major crimes.
Like,
Sometimes not even doing crimes at all.
Very
but-
non-lethal like vampires. Just misdemeanors at most.
Yes, they're constantly getting pulled in and held overnight, but then fucking released the next day like a drunk or something.
This is an ancient method of hunting vampires now, because they're very attached to their worldly positions now. So missing their socks, it weakens them in such a way. Oh, I see. Oh, so I'm really into it.
Like, I was like, oh yeah, that is a fucking way you can fuck with vampires. What was it? You take their left sock, you fill it with rocks, and you throw it in a river, I think is the thing. Because then they were like, my fucking sock, and they have to chase it, which is very funny. Vampires have so many weaknesses. I guess that's why they're so like not a problem in this show.
That's why there's so many of them as well, with their own weird particular things.
So as Dralk is dying, and he's just constantly turning into sand, having his socks stolen out from under his boots, seemingly. We have 2 more vampires show up. It's like, no, say it ain't so. She didn't take your socks, did you? And one of those guys is completely nude except for a cape. And the other guy is like, well, couldn't we just like get some more socks? You don't know what it's like to lose socks, says a completely naked man.
Well, Nudenium's immune to it because he doesn't wear socks anyway.
He's a very powerful vampire, and you cannot steal his socks. So yeah,
because he hasn't got any.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, he's a vampire plant turned into a man. Yeah, essentially, it's a succession of the vampires who we know having their socks stolen. So the rock, paper, scissors guy, he complains that the person who loses is supposed to pick which piece of clothing.
It's the fact that she's breaking the rules of the game that's bugging him. The micro bikini vampire is like, well, the socks and garters make it sexier, but I'm still wearing a micro bikini, so I'm so cool.
I'm so cool.
No, so he resists it.
Etiquette breaching vampires like, I know the trick. I'll take my socks off before she gets a chance to take them off me. And then she just runs past him and grabs the socks off the floor.
She's still soling your socks, so yeah, problem not solved. The kissing vampire thing is wearing socks because it's cold out.
Yeah. Goes to its feet.
Mr. Lewd Talk shows up, goes, oh, I guess I'm not needed here, and then he has his socks.
My work here is done, and before he even arrived, any socks are stolen. Yeah.
And so eventually they give Odd Von Creature a pair of very long socks to lure into a trap.
And she explains her tragic backstory of one time she fought a deadly vampire lord with like a cool name, and in desperation she stole one of his socks, weakening him. And she found it really erotic, and she's just going to keep doing that. And he's like, wait, so you are a pervert then? Yeah, basically.
That's all right. I'm sure we'll meet again. And then the opening strains of the Cousin Quail sounds are cracking up again. What I'm saying, you're not going to say that. This is the middle of the episode.
Yeah, you don't get to walk away. This is bullshit. Yeah.
And then she tries it again at the end of the episode and gets a punch in the face for doing it. How do they... eventually she admires Drauk's fortitude.
So she hands back his socks and she'll get him back when one day she can break his will. And that's when she's walking into the credits, which is like the first part of 3 parts. Yes. It's like, it's not the credits,
Then We Are the State is I never remember her name, the red-haired yes, she's still suffering from the effects of Mr. Lewd Talk's hypnotism.
And it's causing work-based sexual harassment because she keeps saying "we" in moments of panic.
We or Willie,
we, I think is the problem. Is what it's translated. So I assume it's like PP or that kind of.
No, it's dick. She's saying dick all the time.
She's saying chimpo.
Yes.
I thought she was trying to say some very light word for like Willie.
It's a weird translation that they've chosen. Yeah.
I think it's so they can make more puns because it's easier to start a word with
like
we, like we
like
are the state.
small, you know, you could say funny, that's like, you know, it's just like causing all kinds of merriment. Like, yeah, it's just like, you know, Willie. It's like she's kind of using it in place as a crutch for them, like fun saying, "Oh no, that's that yoke over there," and they know, or that thing,
Yeah.
that's whatchamacallit, you know.
It's becoming a filler word. All right, yeah. So she goes to Ronaldo and Dralk, the only people who could possibly help her, and they're like, "What the fuck do you expect us to do?" And Dralk is like, "My dad is super cool and strong and knows all the vampire powers, so I'm just gonna call him up." And he does immediately show up, and he's like, "Yeah, I can hypnotize you." Oh, that fucking lewd vampire, that piece of shit, fucking done this. Oh, I'm definitely fucking helping you now. So he's going to try various methods to unre-hypnotize her or variations on that, and
it
fail
just
every
makes it
fucking time.
worse or different, you know. And we'll try and put a different word in there for the. Now this sounds like you're hungry because you're asking for, like, you know, for a weekend roast.
Weekend
you know,
roast,
yes. And you're looking forward to your Sunday dinner, I suppose. I don't know.
And when she tries to say anything about dinner, she starts talking about wee-wees, because he's basically transposed the words in her head. Yeah, doesn't work out, and he's more distraught each time he fails.
Our only solution is to turn this into a buzzword where it's okay to say it all the time, and it's got a positive connotation. So I'm going to, like, you know, hypnotize the entire town with a blood mist, and then, like, you know, it's just everyone's just doing it now. Now everyone is just like putting dicks in their sentences all the time. And Cat has done so well, you know, our buzzword of the year, Machine Yokohama, is dick. It's like, all right, very good. Yeah, it's pretty good.
As we see from the credits or the ad break thing, your one even wins a prize for coming up with the buzzword.
Is this better? Is this good? I don't know.
You've normalized the use of the word dick and not cured you from saying dick in a panic. So
yeah,
win. It's a win, I guess. Yeah.
Like I'm not sure if these kind of stories now. I suppose even like the one after us kind of came together in the car, but it's just like, you know, delving into, like, you know, why do people get into the particular things that they're into when they're particular turn-ons? You know, it's kind of trying to get into the whole psychology of that in an interesting manner. Like, you know, if I'm saying, yes, that means you get lots of fun dick jokes and kind of people smelling socks and that's kind of like a funny gag and stuff. But it's like interested in someone saying, yeah, but why is she smelling the socks? Why is that like her thing that gets her off? It's like a very thoughtful aspect you wouldn't expect from something like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third part is, John, you've got a dog. John's put weight on, and so John himself goes to see the corrupt.
Because Dralk is like, has Ronaldo been giving you snacks behind your back? Because I was just about to make you some pancakes, but I make sure you get the correct amount of pancakes and vitamins and minerals and stuff. And John just pictures himself stealing extra pancakes. He's like, this is my fault. I've done this to myself. So yeah, John decides to go to the evil vampire, anti-vampire scientist to cure him with a magic potion. He was like, I don't have a magic potion for that. Drink this potion, though.
And so all the vampires who we were told were not suitable for fixing the problem in the previous episode, in the previous story, are tasked with making the dog that has shown up lose weight.
Well, they've all been arrested and called in there overnight, basically. So
they're Saturday night for them.
So yeah, obviously he slipped John and Mickey. He gave him a bunch of sedatives and put him in front of his YouTube videos while he went to get all his chemicals to experiment on a vampire's familiar. Unfortunately, it was set to play cute dog videos, and now John thinks he's a dog. So it's like the only way to solve this is to use all these hypnotism-based vampires to unhypnotize them into being a dog, and they're all their hypnosis is to do with being their perversions. So it's not really helpful at all. Because dogs don't have perversions. They walk around nude all the time. What more could they do?
They also like socks, though.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, the scientist has a dog, which is a load of ashes in a glass.
Yeah, we learn his tragic backstory. And it's just like, oh, he's researching vampires because he wants to revive the ashes of his dog that he's wearing on himself.
I was sliced open an armadillo, like, you know, and they said it like, no problem.
But it's acting like a dog.
A dog or a dog like being the... No, I'm still... I loved a dog once and it broke my heart. I still carry it around today, in fact. So I can't do that. That's my one, like, you know, doctor's, like, ethical violation I will not breach. I will not never do that.
Besides all our geranium vampire, it's the geranium vampire, the
Utah vampire, and the rock paper scissors vampire.
Yeah, we do find out that the string bikini vampire is the brother of the guy wearing loads of clothes, which is actually kind of funny. Yeah, and they both like seeing other people get naked, so I guess they got that in common, yeah.
Yeah. And then the punchline is they have to bring John back the next day because he's grown a geranium on his belly.
Yeah. Yeah, and Drag shows up to save him. They cannot do it because he's a terrible vampire, but he appreciates the love that is shared between these master and pet. And one day I will revive you, ashes of my own dog. But yeah, John has now turned into a pervert, so we need to sort that out.
Yeah. But, I think it may have been a little bit of a pervert before that, like all these other characters.
Most people are on the show, to be fair. So
Well,
that's,
but
yeah.
it's dipping into fun things. It's like everybody has this. Even
Yes.
Hanai, she has a little fetish now. She
Yes.
kind of she likes men with big, gnarly, just knobbly, rough hands. Like,
Oh, yeah,
okay,
when they
that's
try and
cool.
replace
That's cool.
When they try and replace that with the perversion that she's saying of wee wee, it's just like she keeps talking about knobbly, manly,
Knobs.
chunky,
So it's all about knobs.
and keeps saying knobs, and it's like, no, this is worse. Yeah.
Everyone's got one, and they don't need to be ashamed of it. Well, it doesn't hurt nobody. Like these
As long as you
vampires
don't
might
start
do, for example.
screaming
You know, if they go too far with it, then it's cool. It's all right. But
As long
everyone's
as you don't
got
go
one, so
screaming
don't
in
be
public,
ashamed of
you're
it.
fine. Yeah.
Or be ashamed of it because it's also funny when you're ashamed of it. For
That's
the
true.
purposes of this cartoon. That is Oh Suddenly Egyptian Gods, Season 2, Episode 7. Suddenly, Sobek. Sobek wants to make friends. He says hello to somebody. And the narrator thinks, I think they're your friends now. He plays basketball with somebody. The narrator says, I think they're your friend now. And then he tucks in another god as it's sleeping and falls asleep beside them. When he wakes up, he's been tucked in, and then they help ensure the fertility of the grounds by the Nile by doing a dance. So he's got
just
lots
like the
of friends.
Vikings.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, except it's more likely to work here because they are the actual gods doing the dance.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, they don't have to pray to anyone but themselves, so you're good. Yeah.
But Sobek's got a lovely voice and he's got a great character design because it looks like a pattern on his snout, but it's actually.
Yeah, he's the only
it's
one
his
who
mouth.
opens and closes his mouth to talk. I fucking love that. That's a good joke.
Yeah. He's one of my favorite Egyptian gods because he's a crocodile, man. And
yeah, what's not to like?
associated with the Nile River, which I am not named after, but it sounds like my name.
Yeah, close enough.
Yes. Looked him up on Wikipedia. There was a photo of a sculpture of him, which looks very much like the design here. I was like, oh, where can I go and see this? I looked down. I was like, oh, guess it's just a 14-mile trip to Oxford to see it because it's not in Egypt.
Stolen. Yeah. Okay. Great.
I wonder if this has been corrupting searches for like images or anybody online, like all the
Probably
fates
not,
and
no.
Bungo stray dogs.
I'm going to guess probably. Well, it's different. It's a different crocodile god in Moon Knight, but I assume Moon Knight has corrupted at least 2 searches.
Yeah.
3 actually, because you've got the hippo lady as well.
Oh yeah, fuck, it's ruined that as well.
Or improved.
Ruined searches for that. Is what
Yes.
Or fucking these, whoever bought kind of like famous literary characters and fun, the poor bastards, poor geologists trying to look up fucking like about Antarctica and fucking what's this fucking anime chick doing my fucking image searches?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Well, just wait until you do an image search and it's just full of AI art. Then it'll be even.
Yay!
Yes.
Coming soon, I guess. Yeah.
Coming now.
Then we've got Bungo Stray Dogs 45. You, a child of sin. I, a child of sin. So yeah, they're getting away in the helicopter, but it turns out that guy's sword is very long.
Yep. They could basically use it as like as long as you can kind of embed it in somebody's body, you can just use it as a big grappling hook sword to kind of clump up onto the thing. So like Kunikita is this fun saying, look what your ideals got you, fun. If I live by your ideals, it's still getting fucked up. Maybe it isn't no ideal after all. Or is there? Maybe your ideal is to jump out a helicopter yourself and do a heroic sacrifice with the last page of your notebook and turn it into a grenade and blow it up. And you're certainly dead, not coming back. We didn't find the bodies. He's obviously done with forever. We're never going to see him again until we will, undoubtedly. But,
yeah, so
throw it all out, man.
Yeah, Atsushi and Kyoka finally come out of hiding.
I did like that they didn't run away. It's like 3 days later, they were just like in the ceiling, waiting for everyone to go the fuck away.
Look, because they probably presumably escaped with the rest of them. Just stay in the vent, stay in the ceiling.
It's actually a pretty smart plan, honestly. Yeah.
Well, like, you know, he's from an orphanage where we've routinely starved and beaten, so he's used to this. And she was, like, you know, like a hired killer. She's probably used to for long waits as well. So, you know, they could probably wait this out for a little longer, yeah.
Next part of the plan, buy hats.
Well, Steel has.
Steel has stopped someone's scooter, yeah.
Because they are being announced on the news, hey, this is the Armed Detective Agency. They're fugitives from the law. It's like, well, if we put on hats, it's like, you're clearly dressed. It's the same as that guy. And also you're not wearing shoes, which is very obvious as you're walking around town. But hats fucking do the trick, apparently.
You would pass like the visual, like, retinal scanner and everything to get into this building, like, you know, which is like the front for, like, the guild, and where F. Scott Fitzgerald has been holed up trying to run a legitimate business all this time.
Yeah, because Atsushi saw Dazai in a vision, and that made him remember Mushitaro is missing, not dead. So we need to go and see Francis to use Eyes of God to find Mushitaro, because Mushitaro's gift is the one thing which can probably fix this problem.
Yeah, because again, if they do scan our brains, they're going to find the implanted memories of us doing the crime. So we need this guy to do it. And to find him, we need the Eyes of God, which is the thing for finding things.
And we check in on the guy who could do that. He's looking at the video of Rampo killing the chief. So the chief is going to recover.
Yeah, he's in hospital. We've no idea where Rampo is at this stage. So yeah,
he's probably
they show
fine.
up, Francis is busy because him and Louisa are fighting Nathaniel.
Yeah, like she's like knocked out of the staircase as they kind of enter the building. It's like, yeah, sorry, we can't see you right now. He's fighting a priest. And it's like, and even he goes up to the window. He's just against the window, waiting for them to finish their fight. Yeah.
So essentially, the situation is that Francis will help the agency if the agency help Margaret, so that Nathaniel will no longer be working for the rats.
Because if they help Margaret, then he's one thing is I want Margaret back, and it's like, oh, okay, we'll get Margaret back, and then we'll get her to fight him, and that solves my fucking problem. It's like, wait,
we just need to get Yosano from the Armed Detective Agency to do it. Yes. However, the Port Mafia are hiding the Armed Detective Agency members under one condition: that you transfer one member from the Armed Detective Agency to the Port Mafia. Guess which one we want? Not Dazai. I thought it was going to be Dazai. Said, no, we want Yosano. We want her.
That's a really useful power for people who get into fucking scraps all the fucking time.
And then flashback to Mori being told, you can have anybody except Yosano.
It's like, this is the deal.
Oh, yeah, totally. You told me that. Yeah, you definitely there. I mean, you weren't there, but that's definitely what you told me. Yeah.
And so they're agreeing to do a deal, but Mori thinks that Francis is luring them into a trap because he hasn't got the full information that we, the viewer.
Also, the other thing about Francis is like, he will play both sides and it's like, whichever wins, I fucking profit. So, you know, it's like win, win, win. Great.
But meanwhile, in Europe.
Meanwhile, in super jail.
European super jail for the gifted. Dostoevsky's basically going, it's all going according to plan. And then as he's getting smug, he suddenly realizes somebody else is being put in this prison with him. And it is Dazai.
I did appreciate when we were checking in on where all our guys are at the start. It showed where Dazai was like blindfolded and gagged and stuff and sitting in this weird kind of circular chair contraption thing, but when you see Dostoevsky, he's also in a bubble in space, apparently. So it's kind of like, oh, Dazai's also there. Like, he gave you the visual clues. It's like, yeah, Dazai's also in super jail. So
the way you shouldn't have put these two dudes like across from each other unless it was somehow engineered that way.
It probably was by both of them. But
you got on the session phone saying, problem with dudes like us is that no one else is smart the way we are, so we can't identify our problems. So I'm going to talk about my problems to you. Okay, you go first.
Yeah, we're the only people who can be shrinks to each other because no one's as smart as us. It's like, all right, so what was how do I get my subordinates to do shit without me fucking telling them to do shit? And it's like, just be lazy, says Dazai. Don't do a fucking thing. Don't do your job, and they'll have to do it for you. It's perfect. And I was like, all right, how do I get the lady in the cafe to go out on a date with me? It's like, well, you could kill her family and bribe and murder your way so she has no choice but to turn to you. I like both of their solutions are. What a couple of jokesters we are. Yes.
Okay. We both go at the same time. What I was saying. How you communicate with the outside? Yeah, how you communicate with the outside? Okay, we're gonna make a little game. First one to guess how we can communicate outside loses or wins, and
loses.
gotta do what we say.
Because if you guess how the other guy is communicating with outside, then you can communicate with your boys on the outside saying, kill that thing, fuck it up so he can't communicate with the outside, and then I've won. Because then you can't communicate with the outside and I can. That's our plan. We're just gonna sit across from each other, thinking at each other real hard.
Because somebody sends obviously sent Nathaniel to take out fucking Francis, and even left a little trap in his blood, from the pen he fired at him and kind of grazed him, left it in the wall. But
yes,
also someone put a little method through the security system, telling Kyoka to turn on the sprinklers so it'll dilute the blood to the jam trap or something. Oh, okay, all right, that's how it is.
Yeah, there's the guy. What's the guy, the shut-in guy? What's his gift?
The shut-in, which one?
Yeah, the guy at the detective agency who's their tech guy, who's the shut-in, who doesn't show up for so far into
God,
the series.
yeah. He's I can't think of his fucking thing now.
Oh, there's so many ideas that kind of work similar to each other. I was getting mixed up.
Similar, but
anyway,
unique.
I'm sure it will all reveal itself as the story goes on. Anyway, yeah, it's less. There is still violence in this episode, but it's not nobody getting chainsawed in half.
I mean, it's hard to top a room full of guys getting chainsawed in half. Yeah.
No crime scene photos of a dude whose guy's face melted with acid. But yeah, it's just it's just brutal, and they could have looked up and bringing all the ones back in. Probably the last time we'll hear from Takahiro Sakurai in an anime role for a while, because I guess he records his lines for F. Stroll before that Things About the Fairy came out, because off of that now he's started losing parts.
Ah, shit.
Yeah, well, I get the fun. He was a dog, but it's quite benign compared to just kind of some other people in this industry who got caught, and they're still working. So I don't know.
Yeah, it depends on what level and how badly the crime is perceived, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not bad enough to be in super jail, but
Then it's Giant Beasts of Arse, episode 8, Proof of Identity, in which we get Yumi's background of her escaping the lab from 7 years ago, and also firmly establishing what's his face as the shitheel of the series, a little scientist. In 7 years ago, he's not crunching down that magical crystal meth.
I presume they haven't developed it yet. Yeah.
No, but I think it's pointed that he's he's got the big glass of wine Backla's got in the present day. Of course, by the end we know that they're all being played as chumps by the Emperor, who does not appear to be of the same species and maybe a giant beast itself. But yeah, it's Yui's history. I'm trying to remember. We see 11 being pulled out and observed.
And they make her recite a little mantra and release all of the. Is it miasma? Is the magic power?
Miasma is the stuff which.
And they're using it to charge up some kind of tree kind of meter, and it's oh wow, the levels are really good. And then she kind of starts panicking and stops reciting the "in death I will find fucking freedom" and all this kind of weird fucking shit. And she just starts screaming in pain. It's well, she just exploded. I suppose we're on to the next one now. I think we're due to do 22 in a week or two, isn't it? And the guy who's watching, one of the lab assistants, I suppose, watching this is this is fucked up. We're doing this to little girls, and getting Yumi or pre-Yumi basically, and putting her in a room with another Yumi and giving them both knives. All right, you two kill each other. Whoever kills the other one doesn't die. Go. And yeah, it's just doing all kinds of fucked up shit to them like that. And they learn from that as in the throes of trying to murder each other and trying not to die, they release a lot of emotion, and that's really good for the power level. So we're fucking learning things, says the evil scientist. And your man, the lab assistant, failed to free her. He gets stabbed up for his trouble, but she kind of learned oh, fucking people can care about me. I'm gonna try and escape this lab, which is what we saw at the start of the show.
Yes. Yeah, and it turns out empathy is the thing which stops them from being living bombs, because that seems to be what the plan is for them simply to be bombs.
Yeah, power sources / fucking bombs, which is very useful for an empire. Yeah,
because we also learned that Facade is a artificial paladin. He doesn't have to have a cleric to use his powers.
yeah, because when your man like checking up on him is like, dude, you're experimenting on children. If I tell that your boss this, like, it's gonna be, he's like, that's fucked up. It's like, is that what he said? He's like, yeah, but that's a failed experiment. I can still complain and shut you the fuck down. It's like, we made this artificial paladin by hooking him up to the heart of a fucking giant beast, and it's like, okay, that's pretty good. All right, you can stay in business.
The Hordarians are probably the most sensible town we've met. It's basically fight the giant beast, but don't fight any of the ones with the red eyes. They generally do a good job of protecting their town. They fight Facade and the cleric on top of a rocky outpost, but when they realise that she's going to use her miasma exploding powers, they split up and Yumi leads her away so she won't blow up the town. And also she thinks if she gets her alone, she can talk to her and talk her down, which she does, but then she still blows up at the end.
Yeah, and it's your man going like, all right, you just have to hold him off without me powering you up. And he's like, that's cool. I know how to fight this guy because I know his fighting style.
Yes, and also the old man shows up to help out as well.
Like I get that he's late to a lot of things, probably because he's old, but he does show up in a pinch, so that's all right.
Well, I think his new name is the Decrepit, I think.
Yes.
Or the But yes, they kick his ass, but then she blows up, and then everyone's staring at this hollowed out crater, which still has Yumi in the center of it.
And her it's not only that Yumi actually convinced her. It's just like, oh wow, like she seemed to share her memories, but it's like, so I could have friends and I could have people who care about me and that kind of shit. But then there was like a literal wall she couldn't break through, and then you see your man, evil scientist, is like, hey, you're programming. If ever you break through the wall, fucking explode though. So she explodes, and that powers up the ring that Yumi's wearing, which is the thing that the Emperor was after. So I'm guessing that's like a collection device for this energy that was released. Yeah.
And then we have Backler go to the Emperor, and he's like, so what you been up to then? It's like, well, yeah, I've created this artificial paladin, and I plan to use it to keep the non field folk in line. We'll just kill their leaders.
We've killed the Mountaineer leader. We've attacked this other fucking thing. We're about to do this other thing. And it's just like, yeah, everything's going really well. It's like, so the Emperor's like, so you're going to wipe them all out then? It's like, no. We're going to get them in line, and then they'll pay tribute to us, and they'll be like a subservient species to us. It'll work out fucking great. And the Emperor's like, isn't an artificial paladin also a threat to us? Like, because it's really fucking powerful. He's like, probably fine.
We won't. It's a deterrent. We won't even use it.
It's a nuclear weapon, basically. Yeah. It's the threat of them will keep him in line.
And he lets him go, and then the Emperor says to themselves, "These field folk are such fools." So yes, the standard humans are, and then we see close up of the eye, and it's got like red circling things, like digital red lines going through its eye, suggesting that somehow the Emperor is probably
not entirely human.
The giant beasts as well.
Well, also the thing is, like, humans are generally referred to by other species as field folk who once had a great empire, but the empire fell because they got too greedy, and it's just like, also they had to keep fighting giant beasts, which is difficult to do when your terrain is a field. It's like you can defend a mountain, you can defend the woods, but a field is a lot more fucking difficult. Yeah.
Yeah, so why the Emperor needs the ring, I don't know, but that's the other person after it. But I guess the Emperor will turn out to possibly the ultimate villain, but it still feels like the scientist is the worst guy in the show.
I mean, like, he is a human making what are essentially humans to experiment on. Yeah.
Yeah, it's straight ahead fantasy, as they say. Yeah, we've got 4 more episodes left, I would guess. So
do you think they're going to wrap it up, or do you think they're going to go, ooh, check in next season?
I think they're going to wrap this one up. This feels paced to be wrapped up.
It does. Like, they're kind of even though they're bouncing from like village to village kind of thing, it does kind of feel as like, yeah, we've said all we needed to say about each part of the world, that kind of thing.
Because there's one more place they need to go.
Unless it was popular enough, they want to make more of us with these
That's
characters.
true, of course. Yeah.
Because let's see, this based on why a lot of these kind of dudes were involved with, because this is like, some of the involvement of certain people who we got Thunderbolt Fantasy from. That became popular. Everyone said, oh, we just go on another adventure with these dudes again.
Yeah, we could just do another thing. There's another world threat or that kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there was like some kind of like, longer overarching thing they got to do it before. It's like, oh yeah, this is kind of another mad adventure with the lads again.
You could retitle it From Giant Beasts of Ours to The Adventures on Ours.
Giant Beasts of...
No, you have to keep the word Ours. That's very important. That's the key one. It's the world. The world is called Ours.
Tiny monsters of Ours.
That sounds different. That sounds like a different thing. Yeah.
Because the next place they want to go, isn't it? They're going to the aim is to get to the part of the world where they make these sort of metalworks.
Yeah.
To get some answers about the ring.
They
presumably get there and then they have a finale after that two-parter. That would be my guess.
Was it this episode that had the credits show up like 13 minutes in? I was like, whoa, what the fuck? I know there was one of those this week, and I can't remember which episode it was.
It might be this, yeah.
They really wanted to to do the tragic explosion kind of ending and just kind of like no fade to fucking credits, just like cut the fucking show after that, which I did like, but they did the credits like crazy early because they wanted to get all that stuff at the end on. It's very strange.
And that's it for this week. Internet held up.
Hey.
Unlike last week.
Bro, you're invincible.
Just only problem being caused by the Vampires Dice in No Time's website for whatever reason. It's not even Flash. Righty-ho, we'll be back next week. Usual time, Niall, Wednesday.
Unless... Yeah, it should be fine. Unless I get other kind of meetups that I agreed to go to. No, should be fine.
Excellent. Okay. Righty-ho, we will see you then. Goodbye.
Then, we're going to schedule